Hey guys, what is up? Lord Nick here bringing you another League of Legends related video. In this video, I wanted to give you guys a quick guide to Ashe. Ashe is an ADC who I've been recently picking up due to the fact that I was not doing very well towards the end of the preseason with many of my other ADC picks. I had recently ranked Ashe pretty low on a pick that you should play if you are under plat, and I have now kind of flipped on that opinion, and the reason why is I've been playing her, and she actually has been feeling really good for a lot of different reasons. But to start it off, let's talk like how we always talk with their passive. So Ashe's passive is Frost Shot. Frost Shot says spells and attacks slow targets by 30% for 2 seconds. Attacks against enemies afflicted by Frost Shot deal 110% damage. Plus, it is increased by the amount of crit strike modifier. So the more crit you have, the more damage these ones do. This replaces her normal crit, as Ashe's critical attacks deal no extra damage. It's instead increasing Frost Shot slow to 60%, decaying over time. Now, the amount that it slows changes as the game continues onward. So to start with, it only increases it to about 20, and it starts at a base of 10. So early on, it really doesn't increase to being that big of a deal. But as the game goes on, these slows become a massive amount, and they're really, really useful. So I'm just going to keep autoing this thing while we're over here, and you can just see that she does really, really well with attack speed as well. The next big thing on Ashe is going to be her Q, which is Ranger's Focus. The passive of it says basic attacks grant focus for 4 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Stacks fall off 1 at a time, and at 4 stacks, Ranger's Focus can be cast, consuming all focus. When cast, Ashe gains 40% attack speed, and her basic attacks fire a flurry of arrows, dealing 340 physical damage. During this time, she does not stack Ranger's Focus. Ranger's Focus applies Frost Shot. So basically, she gets to shoot really, really fast, and she does that accelerated damage as well with it. Her next ability is her W, which is her Volley. Her Volley just shoots out a grouping of arrows, and if you have multiple enemies, they will be hit as well. Once one arrow hits a target, it stops shooting in that direction, but a single enemy can be hit by multiple arrows. It does not do increased damage, really. It does some, but it's not a whole lot. Really, you want to kind of use this as just kind of either a chase tool or an escape tool. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. As with her autos as well, if somebody's chasing you down, the best part about Ashe right now is that, hey, one hit slows them, the second hit slows them a heck of a lot, and you can kite really, really easily with her. Her next one is her Hawk Shot, and I think this is really what has kind of turned me on to playing this champion a whole hell of a lot, is this ability. Now, outside of just her other abilities, ability to chase and kite, her Hawk Shot is super useful in the early game, as it can be shot across the entirety of the map, and anything it goes over, it will reveal, and it will ping enemies. So it also gives just instantly will ping for your teammates, like, hey, somebody's been spotted, and they'll know where the enemy is. It gives a lot of advantage in the early game of knowing where the enemy jungler is. Especially when an enemy jungler is found out, it's much harder for them to go and gank that side of the map that they're on. So I think this is just a really useful tool, and I usually will level it up at level 4. And if I'm winning the lane, if I'm behind in the lane, I'll get it at level 3, and I will immediately shoot it out, trying to cover as much of the jungle as I can. Usually I'll step back. If I'm on this side of the map, I will step back, and I will shoot it about over here, and it will grab a decent portion of the enemy jungle. It won't show me if they're at their blue, but usually at this point they shouldn't be. And if it grabs them pathing over here, it will hit them. Another way you can do it is you could just aim for Krugs. And usually after early game at level 3, they should still be just hitting around here somewhere. So it should catch them at their Krugs if they're there. If not, then we know they're probably going to be in the river somewhere. And it just gives you a lot of good clear for that reason. It's super useful, super knowledgeable based ability. Now her last ability is going to be her ultimate. Her ultimate shoots out this giant arrow, and the first enemy it hits is stunned. The longer it goes, the longer they're stunned for. It also does 400 magic damage to the first target and half damage to targets around it in a certain area. So these guys both are getting hit. This guy's getting slowed and gets half damage. This guy gets full damage. It scales with AP damage, so you're not really getting it for the damage, but you are using it for the ulti. It's a freaking amazing engage tool. It's also a really great bait tool. So for instance, these guys are chasing me, they're going to catch me, I'm probably going to lose this fight. Bam, I ulti him, he can't fight me now, and I get to Ranger's Focus here and just unload crap tons of damage on him. And that's kind of the gist of how Ashe's abilities. Some little tricks and tips for Ashe though is in the laning phase, you're gonna really want to focus on just autoing farm early on. If your opponent steps up to farm, she has decent attack range, so just auto them once and then follow it up with another one, and they can't really get back in time. I always start with her W. There's never a real reason to start with your Q. Your Q is a decent trade tool, and early on it's a lot of nice damage, but the W just gives you a lot of safer positioning, and you don't have to worry about landing multiple autos to get that really nice slow, as it counts as a crit already. So they're already going to be slowed by a lot more. That's about it for the basics on Ashe, really. She's really just a very good kitey champion. Do note, don't play her too terribly aggressive. I do like to play her more aggressive than some of my other immobile ADCs that I might play, only because she has abilities to slow people down and make it harder for them to chase you. But she is also very easy to pick off because she doesn't have any escape. She is not an escape artist, but she does have a lot of really strong kite and engage tools. Next up, let's talk about her. Let's quickly talk about her items. So Ashe's items, these are the items down below that I have listed. These are the ones that I generally use. Now you'll see in her recommended build to use rune ends, and in many other people I've seen also use rune ends on her still. The reason they do this is you can apply your frost shot onto multiple people with your autos, which isn't a bad thing really, but I personally just enjoy playing Ashe in a manner of safety. So I go rapid fire instead, which, I mean, I only focus on one person instead of multiple people, but I'm going to burst that person down from and get to start from farther away. It just gives you even more engage. It makes your kit feel even more overloaded. Otherwise, the rest of these items are relatively the same. I always kind of go Bork first into Berserker's Greaves. I found that going the other boots, while useful, I've never found a real need to have to go defensive boots. She's really defensive on her own, so you could do it if you're really, really behind and you're really, really feeling it, the pressure, in which then I'd say go like Merc Treads, or if there's a lot of AD, go Ninja Tabby. Pretty easy stuff there, which just in which you just, you're basically need to be an ult bot that game anyways. Also, IE and full crit is just really, really useful on her. And so when the crit changes come through, I don't know how well she's going to do. But for now, she's still really, really good with the current items. And then GA is kind of an optional item. You can switch it out between how you think the game is going. If there's a lot of AD individuals, I recommend GA over Mercurial Scimitar. But if they have a lot of CC and that's really screwing you up, Mercurial might be a better option for you, along with those Merc Treads as well. Other than that, her runes are pretty straightforward. I only really use one rune on her, though she would synergize really well with Press the Attack. I find Lethal Tempo is just a much better rune to use. Triumph is a very aggressive rune, but I do very much like how Triumph works because it allows me to feel like I can take better trades in the early game and possibly position myself for a better chance to just beat people up. I also go Alacrity because just gaining more attack speed on her is really nice, and with Lethal Tempo, I'm trying to go over that attack speed limit, so it's probably pretty useful to have more attack speed coming from my runes. Also, I take Cut Down because she also starts with a really low amount of HP, which means Cut Down is just a straight up better rune for her. Almost everybody's going to have more HP. The top tier ADCs also have more HP than her, so that's just going to be a better rune to have because everybody's going to take increased damage from that. As for her secondaries on the runes, I generally take Cheap Shot because the Cheap Shot applies from her slows. So every 4 seconds, if you've slowed somebody, you get additional true damage straight up to your attacks. That is super, super strong, even if it's only 8 to 10 true damage. I mean, in the late game, it's going to be 40 bonus true damage on your attack. That's so, so good. And then, of course, Eyeball Collection, because with either getting kills or killing runes, or killing wards, my bad, not runes. Killing wards, you're going to get a lot of damage added on from it, which is going to happen almost every game. Other than that, her rune stats that I go with is usually I go with attack speed stat shard, along with 1 damage shard, and usually armor shard as well. Unless it's a double AP bot lane, in which I will go MR for that, I usually go the armor. And the reason I go with the attack speed is it just makes it feel healthier. If you don't, her base attack speed is kind of slow without proccing lethal tempo. So it just makes it's a little nicer to have that extra attack speed early on. And again, in the late game, if you have lethal tempo, that extra attack speed's not going to be detrimental. It's actually going to be beneficial because you get to attack more in the late game. Other than that, guys, that's basically the gist of Ashe. If you guys want more in-depth stuff, either actual gameplay of it, feel free to watch my stream. I've been playing a lot of Ashe recently, so if you want more of like how to actually play her and in-game mechanics and stuff with her, feel free to watch the stream and find that out. Thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Hope you guys liked the video. If you want more videos like this or you want different champions other than marksman, let me know in the comments below. Thank you again, guys. Hope you guys liked the video. Like, subscribe, and follow the Twitch or join the Discord or all of the above. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a great one, guys.